Hi there, welcome to this special Young Workers edition of CWU Live. So this session is it's by young workers, it's for young workers, but it's also for every member of the CWU currently engaged in the campaign. So we've got lots coming up. We've got two really good guest speakers, and we've also got a special message, a special update from Andy Kerr, the DGST, on the negotiations with BT. If you could give us a shout out which branch you're from, or what area of the country in the comments, just give us a shout out. But let's move to our two speakers. Fiona, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Will. Hi, everybody. So I'm Fiona Curtis. I'm from Northern Ireland. As you can guess, I'm a young worker and I work within Openreach, and I'm also part of the CWU Openreach national team.
And Carolyn?
Yeah, hi everyone, thanks Will. Carolyn Lindsay, and unlike Fiona, I am Scottish. I sit on the National Young Workers Committee, and I am chair of the Scottish Regional Young Workers Committee as well, and I work in consumer.
Fantastic. Right, so this panel tonight, this is about members getting their chance to talk with us, get their questions answered. Now, this is the final week of negotiations with the company before the 3-week moratorium ends. So BT and the union are seriously beginning to feel the pressure. So if we move on to questions, but also as well, if you could make sure you tag your fellow co-workers, make sure you're sharing the live stream, make sure we get this out and far and wide as we possibly can. So I think I'll go to you, Carolyn, for the first question. So lots of young members aren't attending union meetings, and how can we get them involved in the campaign?
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good question, actually. And I think it's a problem that so many of us have asked ourselves over certainly the last little while. And to be honest, it was something that I think it's something that continuously changes depending on what's going on. I think with young people, we have to make sure that we're, going towards what actually matters to them. Because I think we've all been guilty of addressing a multitude of issues. But for young people, typically there are only a few things that actually matter. And that was typically career progression, that is bonus, i.e. money, to ensure that we have a work-life balance. We want to have the ability to do everything that everyone else has done before. And yeah, just holidays and such like. So I think what we have to be doing is looking at how we speak to people. We're in a world now where social media is king and queen, and it's all we really focus on. And I think what we need to do is start to adapt that into our strategies. Really try and engage in different ways. And I think saying things like thinking outside the box seems really cliche and really obvious, but it does have to be done. I find that a lot of the time when we think about trying to phone young people, especially in this line of work, we've got so many young people who work in call centres, and every single day they're on the phone. So the last thing they want to do is answer the phone when they're at home. And so I think, yeah, if you can send a quick text and just give short, snappy kind of reasons as to why this is something that is absolutely crucial to them. And then I think we're on to winners there. We really do need to have that information just sent across. Young people don't have the same life experience with things like trade unions, and I think we have to make it simple and clear as to what we're actually fighting for. And I think that's crucial.
Cheers for that, Carolyn. And I think it's a really, really important point, and I think we really need to reiterate, especially to young workers, that this is their movement, it is their issues, and without them and without members in general, we don't have a union at all. Fiona, we have some really, really experienced members within the union. What should they be saying to reassure young workers that they are working with?
So what I would say to, I suppose, the experience representative for young workers is that this campaign, it affects everyone. So so tonight, I suppose it's for young workers and we're speaking, but it's not just for young workers. It's not for people who are the middle age bracket, or people who are, even for people who are near retirement. It's literally for everybody right across. And the issues that affect the older generations also affects the younger generations. Yes, there's different issues that will affect the younger people than there is maybe some of the older ones, but the same issues it can cross between them all. But it's finding the issues that actually affect young workers. It's trying to engage the young workers and making them realize why this campaign is so important to them. Like right across, it's about the terms and conditions. It's about the Better Workplace program that the BT are trying to go through with. It's about redundancies. It's the company have already made people redundant already, and so what's going to happen now in the future coming through? So it's making young people realise that why they have to make a stand and why this campaign is so important. And I know that at the minute we've got a pause, but that's only a pause to the ballot. It's not a pause in this campaign. And this campaign is still so active and so alive. And that's where we really need to try and push that out and get our branches and on the regions to especially speak to the young people too, to get them on board. I know a lot of them are already on board, but it's keeping them on board and keeping that momentum going. I know that plenty of time we hear from the company, especially at senior level, that some of the noise isn't out there on the ground on some of the issues that we raise as a trade union, the issues that the members bring forward to the union, and it's so important that that noise is on the ground, that the management are hearing the noise from this campaign, and that people are raising it then with management and with their peers, so that everybody knows about it, and that everybody's fully aware of it.
I think it is really, really worth actually kind of emphasising that point, that actually most of the issues are actually cross between young workers or not. Although we have sort of like different distinctions, especially within the trade union movement, actually the issues are pretty much the same. And actually we need both older members and younger workers to be pushing that agenda in the workplace. It's with their voice that actually we get the company to listen. Just a reminder for anyone who is watching, can you please just carry on sharing, please tagging your friends, your work colleagues, just get this message out and try and get as many people on as we can. So Caroline, why as a young worker should I back the CWU campaign, and does it really matter to me?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, Fiona has outlined a few kind of points actually, and when you look at things like the Better Workplace project that's currently ongoing, and when you look at things like grading and pay, those are all things that massively contribute to every person's work life. But when you look at young people who potentially don't have the experience to go out and get other jobs elsewhere, if you're going to be faced with the idea of having to move either location because BT are removing all the buildings in your city, then what are you going to do? Because then if it's too far away, then what can you possibly do? You know, if grading isn't affected, or if grading isn't fixed, then where are we in the position? You know, can you afford to travel the extra half hour to your workplace? You know, we're looking at massive issues across the campaign that hugely affect everyone. You know, you look at our young workers in, say, EE, who, when you look at their pay and their terms and conditions, they are poor in comparison to the BT ones, but when you look at the new unagreed TM1 grade, that's even that is poor. You know, it doesn't allow people, especially young people, or rather, it doesn't allow any people to get that good work-life balance. You know, you can't take one holiday, you can't take a nice holiday a year, you can't have a nicer car. You know, it would be the difference between, you know, looking at whether you want to have, as I say, a holiday a year or anything like that, because it just completely takes it away. With all the issues that we're tackling within the CWU campaign, all of these things are what we're looking to rectify. We don't want anybody to be in a position of potential redundancies, but we certainly don't want people to have to think about, can I actually afford to travel to work if my building is lost? You know, it's unthinkable where the direction of the company is going if the Count Me In campaign isn't won which it will be. Of course it will be. We know where we are. We're doing a fantastic job. We all believe in Andy, and he absolutely has our support with the executive. But I just think, yeah, we can't afford not to be. So as a young person, we have to be. If you want to see the future, if you want to stay in the same place and have the future that we all believed the BT future would be, you know, we all used to think that BT was a career for life. If we genuinely want to have that, and we want that to be a good career for life with good prospects and good pay to allow you to have that life outside of work, then you absolutely have no alternative but to be involved with the Count Me In campaign, because it is absolutely crucial to us achieving all of those things.
I think as well, it's really, really worth hammering home that point, that actually the way the company thinks of its workers has changed. Now, we had it from, you know, the BT HR director probably about 2 years ago, that he didn't believe that this was a job for life anymore. The company doesn't believe that this is a job for life. That is something that we have to fight for to actually achieve. That is something that the union will do. We will bring that back, but we need members to be on board with us and fight for that mentality back. So we've had a question through from Rob. So he said, why are SD engineers not being upskilled to fibre when they are recruiting thousands? So I think that would be a really good question for Fiona to take up, bearing in mind she's the Openreach person on the call.
Thanks very much, Will, and thanks, Rob, for asking that question. I suppose it's something that, because I suppose I'm lucky that I'm on the Openreach national team, and it's something that we do raise with the company, that service delivery feel as though, why aren't they getting skilled within fibre, because fibre is the future. And it's something that we do constantly raise. And the answers that we keep getting back is the fact that the service delivery, like the network, the copper network, is still out there and still needs maintained and looked after. But it is a concern, it is a worry, and we know that, and we constantly do bring that up with the company. But it's something that even yourselves, that they have heard the noise out there from yourselves, and I think that's why they're going through they're trying to raise about the different career opportunities within service delivery. That will be coming through for yourselves, but it's still, and we know that is a struggle, and that is something that people are worried about, and it is something that we do raise. But again, can I just highlight that keep putting that pressure on the company, and keep saying that you want those fibre skills and you want to be trained on that, because with both the pressure being put from yourselves and from us, from the trade union, your recognised trade union, then that all will help.
And it is absolutely is that pressure coming from grassroots that actually affects change with management. Now, we as reps, we can advocate for people, but unless there's that noise, there's that engagement from members everywhere, we can't affect the type of change that, you know, our members need. So Caroline, so there's kind of a perception that we only care about sort of the older workers, the, you know, new grid pre-2014 members. Now, why isn't that true? Why do we as a union care about all of our members absolutely equally?
Yeah, I think that does surprise me, but I know that it is something that comes up. It's certainly not the case, you know, for BT. Yeah, they certainly pay different and view people differently, but the CWU is not the case. You know, we don't care in the nicest way. We don't care who you are. If you're a member, you're a member, and you're just as important to us as anybody else. You know, and we will support you and fight on your behalf regardless. But what we have done and what we can see is that massive gap between those on the new grid, on those contracts, versus those on Workforce 2020 in all its forms. You know, we can absolutely see that those people have reason to absolutely demand better, and we demand better. You know, we go back to people asking why do these contracts exist, and when we look at the fact that we had no real choice, because at the time when the Workforce 2020 contracts were brought in 2014, we were in the position of either BT will outsource all of the work, or we accept these contracts and we get direct labour. And so the thought process would be, You know, we will allow that to happen. We will allow people to get jobs, because we want people within the UK to have jobs. Of course we do. We're a trade union. That is exactly what we look for. But then what the goal was, based on the relationships that we had with the company at the time, was then to make those contracts a lot better, to close that and get parity between the new grid and the Workforce 2020. We were looking to make sure that everyone had that level, and as I referred to earlier on, they could see BT as a long-term career. They could see those wages coming in at the right amount. They could see their bonuses. They could see everything that they were hoping for when they hear that they're going to be working for a blue chip company. And yet that hasn't really been the case for a long time. We haven't been able, or rather the company just has point blank refused at every opportunity for us to demand better. And, long story short, here we are. And that is, again, why the Count Me In campaign is for everyone. And it is to improve, because again, we wouldn't even say that the new good contracts were perfect. We want to improve across the board. Times have changed, the world of work has changed. We look across the world at how people are working now, the working from home, how that's changed. The pandemic has changed everything. We absolutely, for us, every person needs things improved. We want to improve everything, and that's the goal, and that's exactly what we'll do. If we didn't believe that was the case, we wouldn't be trade unionists. We wouldn't be the trade union, and we wouldn't be the fantastic trade union that we are. The CWU is known for doing this. You look at our counterparts in the postal side. We're all, to our own horn, but we're incredible at what we do, and we will continue to keep that up, because we don't have anything else. We don't have another gear, and that is the absolute fact of it. Workforce 2020 will one day be a thing of the past, and we'll all have far, far, far better, far better contracts, because that's the goal. That is exactly what we are doing, and that's the whole point of the campaign. So yeah, regardless of your contract, you're equal and wonderful in our eyes.
A really, really good really good point there, Carolyn. And I think it's really, really crucial that every member knows that no matter what contract they are on now, we are always aiming to deliver them better. So we're going to take a last question before we go to the exclusive update on the negotiations with BT Group from Andy Kerr. So I've got a question from Mark. Is there someone who I can speak to get involved? I'm going to give that one to Fiona.
Thanks, Mark. Absolutely brilliant question. If you can speak with your local branch, if you're not sure of who your local branch is, hopefully they've been in contact with you recently or sent you out local comms. But if not, you can go onto the CWU website and you can find out how your contact details for your branch. If not, even contact the CWU, even right on here, and we can get in contact with you and find out who your branch is. But it's also just to highlight that you don't actually have to be a full rep to be involved in CWU. There's so many aspects of how you can actually be involved, and be involved in this campaign, even by sharing this tonight with one co-worker, by speaking about the campaign, about just even being, I suppose, even a point, you can even be a point of contact within your workplace, speaking to your colleagues. If you want to be a rep, absolutely fantastic. That's how I know that myself, Carolyn, and Will here tonight, we all started off as like basically point of voices in the workplace, and then became reps, and now we're here, so we absolutely love it. But there's niches for everybody, and you don't have to be fully involved to be actually involved. But there's loads of different ways to be involved. So, but if you're not sure of who to contact, get in contact with the CWU here tonight, and we can find out who your local branch is, and the local branch then can speak with you.
And I think that's a critical message for absolutely every member to hear, is that we need reps, we need young people coming through, but we need activists. We need activists in every single team in BT Group. And if you want to help the campaign, well, just start leaving count me in comments on Workplace. That helps, so start small, and let's build you up there, Mark. So next, we're going to go to the message from Andy Kerr about the negotiations.
I'll give you an update on where we are in negotiations with BT. As you know, we had a moratorium over the last few weeks, and it runs out in the next few days. But We have been meeting with the company off and on over that period of time, and we have been making progress. As I said before, the 2 years, we've had about 6 sort of main areas, and progress has been made, I would say, actually in every one of them, some more than others, and that's really what the big issue is for us now. So discussions are taking place. We are making progress, but there's much more to do, and we're actually still a bit away from it. And unfortunately, as against the clock, we are running out of time in some respects. And the big issues for us really, I say, you know, running it down is the issue around pay terms and conditions, and probably the biggest issue is the Better Workplace programme and what that can mean to people and the potential redundancies and closure of sites up and down the country. And that's where the real progress needs to be made, and we are trying to do that as we speak. But one thing I will say to you quite clearly, I will be in a position to put something to our executive soon and see where it takes us. But our position still stands. If we can't get enough progress made by the time that we've set aside, we will be going to that ballot, and we will be doing that ballot at the beginning of June. So please continue doing what you're doing, continue being part of the campaign. We need you that pressure being put onto the company, and it's been great so far. And really going into the ballot, if we do that, obviously we're counting on everybody's support for that. So, you know, I couldn't really get into detail. You wouldn't expect me to be able to get into detail at this point in time. I apologise for that in some respects, but really just to say we are making progress, but it really is, we're now at a crunch time between ourselves and the company, and hopefully in the next few days we can work our way through it. But I know I can count your support whatever happens, so thank you very much.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I think we can all thank Andy for that update there, but I think it's also really, really important that we take home that message that the campaign isn't on pause. There are still issues that need to be resolved, and we need to be putting pressure onto the company absolutely wherever and wherever we can. So if you want to put pressure on the firm, make sure you type into the comments box that you are voting yes. Get as many people as you can to say that you are voting yes, because there are BT managers that like to come in and like to watch what we do and how we talk and how strong we are. And we need to be showing BT managers that are watching us tonight that we do have our members behind us. They are backing us. They are backing the campaign, and they are voting yes. So make sure you get that into the comments. Thank you. Righty. So I think we're going to move on to another question now. So right. So Fiona, what are the key issues facing young workers in Openreach right now?
Thanks, Will. I think there's a few key issues across Openreach. One of them, that the main one kind of would be, is location. The Better Workplace. I know that Openreach have come out with their 9 key locations, with technically really only 8 of them being for team members, which is I suppose that's a real big struggle, especially for the future for desk, and especially for young people, especially if later on in life, if you want to progress into desk, or something happens, if you're out in the field engineering and you can no longer lift a box, or you can no longer climb, what's the future for you within the company? What can you actually do? But even people existing then within the desk population, what's going to happen to your role? Where are you going to go? Are you going to be able to travel? What way are the company actually looking at it? It's about all of that. I suppose that's what the campaign's about, getting that security around that. And then it's also then for especially people out in the field too, about what happens. I suppose it's all the uncertainty that's out there. So what happens with the future when you've got the full fibre, and like one of the questions earlier there about service delivery, we're not trained on the fibre, but we all know that like the fibre will fault less. Once it's in, it's basically very, very little work, I suppose, needed to it. So what's going to happen to all those people? And even at the minute, we have those different terms and conditions. As Karen was talking about them within like consumer too, that's within Openreach, it's right across BT Group, but they're even trying to bring in more new terms and conditions. So what's the potential there? I suppose it's around all the uncertainty that there is out there, and around the grading. That's another aspect of what this campaign's about, is trying to get the agreed grades and all the grades sorted out. And I just want to give a big massive shout out as well to the RPE community that will have the current dispute with Openreach at the minute around the reprem and project engineers. They've already been out on strike for 15 days, and there's current negotiations with the company around that. But it just shows that they're leading the way for us, showing that what it is to stand together in solidarity. And hopefully then there'll be something on the back of that then, and it can show what you can achieve when you do stand together and stick together. But there are so many issues then right across Openreach, and especially for young workers. And it's not just young workers though too, it's right across for everybody, and it's all the uncertainty that's out there at the minute. Like even with location strategy, some of the locations have been announced, but they've been announced under FND and not under service delivery. So what happens then if you're in service delivery and it's an FND site? What's going to happen there? So it's getting that security for people, that people then can actually plan their future. As Karen was saying, it's a difference then of even be able to book a holiday, or even be able to buy a car, or especially for young people, if you're trying to get a mortgage or you're trying to get for renting a house. It's having that certainty behind you that you can actually go and buy those things and purchase those different things.
Thank you very much for that, Fiona. And I think we really, really do need to emphasise the point that we are reps, we are advocates, but actually we are affected by this as well. You know, I work out of Colombo House. There's a good chance which I could lose my job unless this is resolved. I know you guys are in similar situations as well, because we are workers of the company, and we want BT to be a good place to work. We want to have decent terms and conditions, not just for us, but for everyone that we represent. So there's someone called Marcus who's left a comment in the chat that he would like to be more involved, and it turns out he's from my branch. So if you could leave a voicemail on our branch landline number, if you go to the CWU website, contact us, Greater London Combined Branch, leave a voicemail on our answering machine, mate, and I will give you a call tomorrow. As soon as I get your message, I will phone you and I'll make sure we get you involved, mate. That sound good? Good stuff. Right. So, Carolyn, so you are in BT Consumer. So let's hear a bit from you about what are the key challenges for young workers working in this part of BT Group.
Yeah, I enjoy that you've got a special task now already. Well, you've been doing this for half an hour and you've already got a job for tomorrow. That's what a good host gets. But on to consumer. A lot of the similar issues, to be honest, with Openreach. You know, we touched on it earlier on with the site strategy. Nick Lane himself, you know, he, unlike other lines of business, hasn't actually announced his site strategy. So we have no idea who, what, where is safe. You know, personally, I'm really lucky, although my building will be gone. So Dial House in Glasgow will no longer be the thing or will no longer be a building. But there is massive, massive amounts of money going into Alleybain House down the road, which is currently where Enterprise is. So I'm in a really blessed position. But you bear in mind, Scotland hasn't been lucky. And we've already lost Aberdeen. And so we've already seen a vast amount of young workers and a vast amount of workers losing their jobs within consumer in Aberdeen. You know, highly skilled workers who were just made redundant. You know, they were just gone because they closed the building. And BT didn't want any kind of feedback or didn't want any help from us in terms of relocating people. They just didn't want to do it. And so the Better Workplace Strategy project is massive, because we've seen it in consumer time and time again. And it is a daunting prospect. You know, we've talked about it already. Can people actually afford, especially within consumer, where we see some of the lowest paid contracts, especially under the unagreed terms and conditions that are now in place, thanks again to Nick Lane bringing in the TM1 role. You know, we're looking at people now being paid less than their counterparts, you know, doing the exact same job on an already TM1 contract that we don't particularly enjoy, because they're getting paid far less than what we would like. But the unagreed terms and conditions are even worse. You know, there's no Sunday pay, there's no bank holiday payments. You know, it can amount to things. I think it's roughly £2,500, and actually I'm sure it's £2,662 if I remember correctly, seeing it earlier on. And it is massive. You know, that's a huge, huge, huge gap. And as we keep saying, you know, that's a holiday. You look at a company this size, a blue chip company, and the work that people in consumer are doing, and I'm not going to say that, you know, consumer works harder than anyone else. Of course, being consumer, I would love to say that. But the job that people, you know, in our loyalty and our value teams, dealing with people who are already leaving the business and are furious at the company. And although you're not the company, to the person on the phone, you are the company, getting screamed at, shouted at, swore at, all the abuse in the world. And for, you know, £18,000, is it worth that? Probably not. Can you then de-stress and go on a nice holiday for a week with your friends and your family? Probably not. So, you know, it's just something that we really just cannot afford to vote yes. You know, there's no other alternative. We can't do anything other than vote yes. And that is what we see in consumers. So the workplace strategy is terrifying. You know, are people going to lose their job? If they're not going to lose their job, can they relocate? Can they afford to relocate? Probably not, because again, they're not getting paid enough money. And grading is a huge issue. As we all know, grading within the business, within the kind of consumer industry, has been ongoing for as long as we can all remember, you know, and what we've seen is things like Camp 3 in service just getting taken away. So rather than, you know, grading the roles appropriately and rewarding those skilled workers who do incredible jobs, fix really complex cases for customers who are in the worst of experiences with the company, and these Camp 3 advisors and these people who are highly skilled service subject matter experts are doing work that their own managers cannot do because they'll bring them the cases. And rather than grading them higher, paying them for all that work, giving them better bonuses, giving them that, instead what they've done is they've taken the roles away and said the managers will do it. The managers don't know how to do it, and so then we were in a position where we have, you know, advisors getting paid the minimum, being taken offline, which although is a blessing and a curse, even though now it's a further curse, because are we going to get contingency bonus for it, which is a whole other thing, because the bonus is a whole kettle of fish. But we have people coming offline, not being rewarded for it, to help their managers do something that they are more than capable of doing, and mere months ago were doing it themselves. You know, people who gave extra time, helped train other advisors, and have had a wealth of experience, and they just don't get rewarded for it. So grading is a massive issue. We've got that across the board, you know, and it's just baffling that it has been going on for so long. You know, we've been told time and time again by management that, you know, all people who work in the customer service industry, i.e. sales, retention, service, billing, help, etc., they all do the same job. The job is just as hard and just as easy, regardless of what role you do. So to them, to Nick Lane, he doesn't really feel like grading is something, you know, massively important. And I think that is something that we absolutely we fight back on. You know, we know our skill. We know that the advisors and the members that we have are incredibly skilled and incredibly good at what they do. And the fact that they haven't been rewarded has seen the business lose some incredibly talented people. You know, and potentially we're seeing people who are massively skilled and going to competitors, because whereas, you know, BT are looked at as the market leader in terms of product and employment, are things going to be continuously that way? I don't know. You know, people could potentially have left to get better contracts elsewhere at this point. So it's we're really massively looking to stop the race to the bottom, and I think consumer has so many things that we really need to kind of dive up rather than dive down on that race to the bottom, because we have a lot of issues within consumer, like Openreach, and like everywhere. You know, technology everywhere across the piece is all in the same boat, I'm afraid, and that's why we're here. You know, that's why the campaign is vital.
Thank you very much for that, Carolyn. And I think it's worth kind of saying that no news is not good news when it comes to the Better Workplace programme and the site rationalisation programme. Just because you haven't been told that your site is going does not mean that you are safe. And it is absolutely the reason to be getting behind this campaign as hard as you can. And I think it's worth mentioning that actually it doesn't matter what line of business you are in. This campaign is for everyone. We are trying to stop that race to the bottom for everyone. It's not just for PA, billing, consumer, EE, Openreach. This is a joint issue, and it's only together, all of the CFUs, all of our members together, can we actually get that resolved. So Fiona, there's undoubtedly members from BT Technology listening tonight, and I was just wondering if you could go through some of the key issues that they are facing.
Thanks, Will. I think, well, the key issues in technology, it's very similar to what the issues are then within consumer and within Openreach and the rest of BT Group. It just has a different slant on it because it's technology. But again, the location strategy massively impacts technology. Redundancy impacts them as well. I think that one of the big issues is that we need to have a massive culture change right across the different lines of business and right across in BT Group itself. So then BT Group and work its way down, like right throughout the whole of BT, a massive culture change is needed. The fact that the company don't seem to be listening to the union. They don't seem to be, and the union, like the trade union is here. We are the voice of you, the members. And I know that like we ourselves, we're members and we voice our opinions across too, but the company really need to take the union seriously because we are only putting across you, the members, your point of view and what you are looking for. And that's what we're saying to the company. And I think within technology, like there's a lot of uncertainty, especially in location and the desk population. And I think that's a massive worry for people. And there's the grading that's throughout as well. So I think the issues just they're quite similar right across the different lines of business, just with their own slants.
Thank you very much for that, Fiona. So I think we're going to start to wrap up the session. So we're going to go to closing thoughts, sort of your last sort of thoughts and comments, especially to any managers that may well be here or may not be here with us tonight. So Carolyn, well, what are your final thoughts for our members tonight?
Yeah, thanks, Will. And anyone who is listening, I suppose, just stick with us and continue the good fight. You know, you have been behind us the whole way. And I think we have shown time and time again that we will continue to speak for you. We will shout for you. We will scream and we will jump up and down and do everything that we possibly can for you. Is that you are our absolute priority. You know, we are sitting here, even the three of us are sitting here now after work time doing this because although everything that we do during the day, we realise that sometimes you don't see. And so that is why we absolutely show that we care. You know, we know how much and how important these things are. And they're important to us. Will touched on it. You know, I say the same thing every time I do a recruitment class and I recruit new members. You know, it's not a case of, you know, we want BT to fail. It is the polar opposite. We want BT to succeed. We want BT to be the best possible company because other than a very few select few people, we're all paid by BT as well. We are all employed by BT Group and we are all looking to continue that because whilst we're employed with BT Group, we are with the CWU. And for us, that is what we do. You know, that is where we believe we can do our best work. And that is why we're here. You know, our strength and our unity is what defines us. And I think when we all come together, we are incredible as a union. And we've said it time and time again, and we are only the sum of our members. And our members, you guys are the most important thing. And when you do all that you possibly can to help us, then we will make sure that we continue to do all that we possibly can to help you. And yeah, if BT don't give us the answers that we want within the next less than a week, then you know where we are. You know what's going to happen. It's just round the corner. Whether we want it or not, it's just round the corner. But we know that fundamentally, the very end thing is you guys, the members. You are all that. You're paramount, and you are all that we care about, really.
Absolutely stellar there, Carolyn. Thank you for that. And Fiona, your last closing thoughts and any messages for any managers that may well be watching tonight.
I suppose the message is for everyone, though, that the Economy In campaign, it's about protecting us, the workers. It's about having a secure future with decent terms and conditions. This is the time for the company to well and truly to hear us and to hear our voice. The more we stand together as a collective, the stronger we will be. Whenever we did the consultative ballot, there was a massive turnout for that with a 98% yes vote. If this, I know this moratorium now is ending very soon. So when it comes to the end of that, we don't know whether the ball's going to be called, but if the ball's going to be called, then we need to echo that result, but be even stronger again, because we need that company. We need the company to hear our voice and to realise how unhappy we are with what changes they're trying to make and what they're trying to bring down the future. And the fact, I know that there was a comment that Bill had made about there's a cost to action, but it's the cost of what it'll be in the long run if we don't do action, if the company don't sit up and listen to us and don't take our views on board properly. People have left the company on compulsory redundancies already, and this could become thousands in the next couple of months, and we cannot let that happen. That's why this campaign, as I said before, it's about this to secure our future, and again for decent terms and conditions. And BT Group should be leading the way in industry. They should be leading the way with our terms and conditions, with pay. They shouldn't be trying to match other industries. They should be the ones trying to lead the way. And we need to make sure that we all stick together in this, no matter how small of sticking together we do, whether, like as I said before, speaking to somebody else, letting them know about this campaign. But it's just we all need to stick together as a collective. And the more we stick together, the stronger we are.
Absolutely, Stella there, Erin, really brilliant. So we're going to close up the session now. So first of all, I'd just like to give an absolutely massive thank you to both Caroline and Fiona for taking a grilling tonight, allowing me to throw endless questions at you. I think both of you did absolutely fantastically. I'd like to thank all of our members, everyone watching tonight, everyone left a comment, everyone shared, everyone said that they were voting yes. You are the union. It is not us who are the union, it is you. It is the collective action of all of us together that will win this campaign. It is not the people up here that will win this campaign. It is you, everyone watching tonight, everyone who said they were going to vote yes, everyone who's going to put a yes vote in that box is the people who will win this campaign. So thank you very much. Make sure you share this session again, make sure you get it spread out, and make sure that every manager knows that we are going to win this campaign. Thank you very much for coming on tonight. Cheers.